we get into our ballers on the hardwood, the Sacramento Kings, and the fours. And, yeah, by the way, Kevin Huerter's a forward now. And I'm going to keep giving Brandon a hard time. But somebody else,
I knew you were going to bring that up. That's so funny.
Because I heard that somewhere else. I think it was on the Drive guys. And they also talked about Kevin Huerter having to, it was more of a conversation of, well, Kevin Huerter's going to have to play 3 now just based on the situation and his size and just where we're at with the roster. So I can't give Brendan that hard of a time. But it was funny when I just woke up one day and he was all of a sudden a forward. But we have the list, Chris, as we went through the guards yesterday of one thing or a couple things each player can improve on. And let's get right on into it. DeMar DeRozan, it says playing in the 0.5.
Yeah. That's what Brendan has in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he just means playing in Mike Brown's 0.5 offensive system, which is just, it's not, traditionally when you hear point forward or something like that, it's not that sense. 0.5 meaning 0.5 seconds, as in how long Mike Brown wants you to make a decision by the time you touch the ball. You should have the ball for no longer than 0.5 seconds, and you should either dribble, shoot, or pass, or know which one of those you're going to do in those 0.5. And I think that's more just Brendan saying, essentially DeMar needs to learn how to play into the offense. He's been a little bit more of this ISO-friendly guy who can on occasion, spread out the floor and kind of just call his own number. He's got to learn how to make quick decisions, because if you boggle down the offense, everything stops. It moves, you need ball and player movement. And it takes a while to kind of get not only used to playing mentally, but like physically. It's a lot of running, and not that DeMar's in bad shape at all, but it's just a little bit of a different kind of mentality that you need to play through. I think I would agree with that for sure. But I guess just in general, I think it would help if DeMar could kind of become a little bit more consistent of a 3-point shooter. Yeah. That would probably be the thing besides what Brendan says, because I do think that's the right thing. But besides that, it's just, can you be a 36, 37% 3-point shooter?
Yeah. And I think when you read playing in the 0.5, you hear, and you're just, maybe not as in the weeds as we are, you hear 0.5 flow offense. It's all these terms. Well, what is it? You know what I mean? It does feel like there is a lot going on. But as far as DeMar DeRozan is concerned, maybe the reason Brendan didn't have the 3-point percentage is just because, as you have his age listed at 35, maybe they just figure, hey, as a player, he is who he is. And I know, we're talking about Vince Carter. A lot of guys have developed the 3 because that I thought would be the obvious one to be fair. But maybe Brendan is more so focusing on, hey, DeMar is who he is as a player. Let's just kind of focus on, who he's going to be with the Sacramento Kings. So I don't think there's a wrong answer there, but I would agree with you. If I were to have guessed, I would have said shooting from the 3-point line. The next one, and I'm assuming you saw these, Chris.
I saw them. I don't remember them.
Okay. Well, then yesterday.
I didn't, I think is what Jay Johnson said.
Yes. Yesterday, you let me guess, so we'll flip the script on it today.
Okay.
What would you say about 24-year-old phenom, Keegan Murray?
Well, I actually wonder, this one's going to be interesting because me and Brendan talk about Keegan quite a bit in his development. Does Brendan have on there, because my answer is going to be attacking the rim or like finishing around the rim?
It's pretty broad what he's saying. So if this was Family Feud, you would have gotten it right.
Okay. What did he say?
Offensive aggressiveness.
Well, I don't know if I would have gotten that right on Family
Feud.
Feud.
Aggressive.
I think, I'm specifically more talking about, like, I need finishing moves from Keegan. Like, I need Euro steps. I need craftiness around the rim. I need him to be a little bit more acrobatic in the air. It's just a little bit too stiff for me. And that's more of a long-term goal. But I think if Keegan can become right now he's a 2-level scorer. Before he was only a 1-level scorer, and that was from beyond the perimeter. Last season, we saw him take it into the mid-range. It'd be nice to see some floaters. It'd be great if he can become a 3-level scorer and really be able to attack, because then that's when Keegan Murray just becomes a scorer. He is no longer a shooter. He then is a full 3-level scorer, where if he pump fakes on the perimeter, you might have to bite on that because obviously he's a great shooter. But if you do bite on it, then he might take you to the rack and be able to score that way. And vice versa, you have to be afraid of him attacking. And so you then can't pressure him as much on the 3-point line. I think it opens everything up. And that's really the place where for Keegan's offensive game, I think that opens literally everything up for him. I would love to see him touch the post a little bit more too. He posted up a good bit in college and we've seen none of it. Like, I don't think I've seen Keegan post up once in the pros, and he was like really, really efficient at posting up in college.
That is what they said on CBS Sports as far as if he does play 4, there will be a lot of 1-4 switches. Well, he'll get a point guard on him and he can he can cook that way. But
I'd love that.
Chris, I got to say this. We're feeling good on a Friday.
Okay.
But we're not feeling that good. We have Ward in the Sac chat.
Okay.
And this one just got me.
Okay.
Is Chris drinking a Tecate? Because it does kind of look like a Tecate.
I don't think so. Tecates are like green.
The red on red. It does. Chris Verlon is shaking his head. Yes, and I just got me.
Let's see.
No, Ward. This isn't the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it is. Yeah, like the polar bear does kind of look like the.
This is not the Pat McAfee show.
No. Yes.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but not yet. But that would be that. We were actually just talking about that during the break, though. If we just went full Pat McAfee. Hey, Jose, this is what I've been.
The show's been great this week. It's just flown by. I can barely remember what we talked about.
No. What day is it? I show up the next day. Alan, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
It's fishing. All right.
You and Nate can hang out.
Next on the list, one Red Velvet. Kayvon.
That's right. You're forward. You're forward.
You're starting small forward at 26 years old out of Maryland. What is it? Go Toidles. on Scott Van, I like Toidles.
Yes, that kid. Yes, Jonathan. I love that video. I literally love that video so much. Shout out Jonathan. What is he doing these days?
He's probably 24.
He's probably not. That video probably is not done well for him in college. Like you would think like, hey, like I was famous. Like it's probably your first day icebreaker is, I went viral when I was a kid.
He probably had to go to Maryland.
I would think so. Yeah. Anyways, Kevin
Huerter.
What does Kevin Huerter need to work on? Brendan probably put defense, if I had to guess. I would probably the thing about saying Kevin Huerter defense is honestly like even the level of defense that he could in theory get to, because you don't go from we'll just say a below average defender to then becoming a great defender. Like you're going from below average to maybe passable. And I was going to say, I don't know how much being a passable defender even really does, like what that really even does for Kevin Huerter. I'll just say, I'll probably say defense too, actually. I'll just go with defense in general. I just don't know what else would really take his game to the next level.
Survey says, it's very simple. I mean, I guess I don't even know if you overthought it. You just weren't thinking offensively. Back to elite 3-point shooting.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I guess just being more consistent in general would be nice. I mean, I think we've actually talked about it with Brendan and Frankie on here, but like Kevin Huerter goes through, even when he was great last in the first Beam Team season, it was a lot of up and down. It's like he's at 45%, he's at 50%. Okay, now he's at 34% for this month, and then he brought it back up to 37, and then he finishes the season, a total of just at 40%. I think it'd be a lot better if you just knew what you were getting from him. If it didn't have to be, okay, like Kevin's been on a heater here, let's make sure to feed him, and then Kevin's been a little bit cold these past couple games. How are we going to get him going? I think just a level of consistency does go a really long way with a guy like Kevin, especially, with how much mental fatigue, I guess you could say, we felt like he went through last year with just the shooting struggles. I don't know if Kevin Huerter can honestly go through like himself. I don't know if he could take another season like the one he just had, because it really looked like he was tested last season just in terms of his will. He looked like there was a lot of times in which I don't want to say he gave up, but it did feel like you could see the defeat in his body language when he would miss threes. And, you're just, especially from a shooter, it's almost like being a pitcher or something like that. You just don't want to lose any of that confidence, because the second it's gone, some guys can come back in a second, but mentally you have to get back to a place of comfort. And I don't know if Kevin's there yet, especially after you dislocate your shoulder.
You know what he doesn't have to work on, I would say? Rebounding.
Oh, yeah. No, great rebounder,
That man can rebound.
That's all that matters, really.
All right, let's get through these next two.
Shady floater game.
Trey Lyles at 29 years old out of Kentucky.
I think for Trey, I mean, I guess, I would say maybe being a little bit more lethal from beyond the arc, maybe sharpening that Swiss Army knife a little bit. I think Trey, especially now that HB is gone, like he's kind of, in terms of, body and the versatility in which the Kings kind of ask him to play forward and center. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be nice if we could say at the end of this year, oh, Trey Lyles is best when he's put into this situation. Right now, I think he's a little bit too much of their joker card almost, right, where it's like, hey, we can use him however we really see fit. And I think we saw last year he kind of plateaued a little bit. Right. I think it'd be nice to just kind of start to accentuate the things that Trey does well, and instead of just, hey, we're getting really passable play from you, mm-hmm, because we have you, like, think about how confusing it is. Even Trey lost a ton of weight last year, looked like he was in great shape. He's supposed to play the backup center, and he's supposed to play the forward, and he's supposed to play on the perimeter, but then when he's playing center, right, we need him to bang and grab rebounds and play in the post. Like, that's really, really tough from a physical and a mental side of things, to just keep that many things in your mind juggling. I think it'd be really nice to just get some great play out of Trey Lyles.
Last but not least, and this one will be quick because we got to go quick, Jalen McDaniels, 27 years old.
Don't be the worst player in the league, apparently. The Raptors fans said he was literally the worst player in the league last year. If he can improve on anything, it would be improving your public image, I guess. The public perception of your game.
Solidifying the 3 and D. That's what Brendan has. Yeah.
So Brendan's thing is stop being a theoretical player.
Yes. Okay. Be real and come to Sacramento if you haven't.
I'll take a drink to that one.
Take a drink of a warm Tecate. Coming up next.